Hi, I'm Robin. This is my husband, Daniel. Say
Hello.
Daniel watched this movie, like the whole movie with me last night. And also it's Saturday, so he had nothing else to do. So he is here with me because he loves me, and I've asked him a lot of times. So I'm gonna do a spoiler-free summary of the movie, tell you our ratings, and then go back and tell you what happened with commentary. So the movie started with pretty clouds. I liked the pretty clouds.
Did you tell them what movie it was?
No. It's Around the World in 80 Days. A good point. You messed me up by being here.
Sorry.
But also the sun at the beginning told you.
2004 version.
Title. Yeah, it came out in 2004. You're so old.
It's written by 3 Davids and Jackie Chan.
No. The screenplay is not the movie. The movie. The book is written by a famous guy. And the screenplay, we're doing great, is written by 3 Davids. Yeah, that was funny.
I'm really helpful.
But yes, you're messing me up. So, Around the World in 80 Days. It stars Jackie Chan. Executive produced by Jackie Chan and someone else. Stunt coordination by Jackie Chan. So, there's pretty clouds at the beginning. Jackie Chan's in the movie.
He is.
There's also the other main dude in the movie. There's some stunts because Jackie Chan's in the movie.
There are ladies in the movie.
Big spoiler. They go to different places around the world, and they try to travel around the world in 80 days in Africa.
They do try.
This is a mild spoiler. They travel through the Himalayas, but they don't show you anything there.
Yeah, we're really confused how that happened.
I feel like that one's a reasonable spoiler.
Yeah, that one's weird. I don't know how that happens because I've heard the Himalayas are pretty tall.
That's why they didn't show us. They were too fast. They didn't want us to know what they discovered. So Daniel is going to tell you his rating of the movie.
I gave it a 7.5. It had a lot of funny moments. There's a lot of slapstick and physical humor in the movie. Some of it was over the top, but they did a good job. There's a lot of subplots and a lot of good supporting characters, and the characters were mostly reasonable. So. And
he said all the overarching plots were well done.
But
I wrote it down. You didn't say it. I wrote it because you said it. I gave the plot an 8. This is a PG movie. I think that PG movies should be kid-friendly still, 8-year-old friendly. And there's bad language in it a few times. There's not the super, super bad words, but there's definitely bad words. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. And sometimes when people got hurt, it was just uncomfortable. It passed the point of funny and made me uncomfortable to watch. But the adventure was really good. I liked that they showed different places because they went around the world and they encountered nice people a lot. I gave the characters an 8 because I didn't super connect with any of them, but I enjoyed most of them. One of them was really funny, and I really liked one of them, but I will come back to that after we tell you about the movie. Overall, I give it an 8. Okay, so now if you haven't watched the movie and you don't want to know what happens, maybe stop here. Maybe. And then watch the movie and then come back to watch the rest. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Jackie Chan did everything. Screenplay was written by 3 guys named David. People in this movie.
David. You don't know. It could have been David.
People in movies really like to fly into the middle of portraits or the middle of mirrors, like in the Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yeah.
They crashed through a mirror 2 times. And in this movie, Jackie Chan, crashes through the back of a portrait. It's I think it's a lady's portrait because that would be funnier. And so his face is where her face goes. And it's just impressive how they always get the middle. He's testing
the most logical place.
Yeah, but it's the very middle. Also, if I'm carrying something, I'm not going to stop and let him get in the middle. I'm going to try to move it or drop it, not just hold it up for him.
No, you just hold up for him. That's what we do in emergencies. Because you freeze. You don't know what's going on.
Do better.
It's just a crazy man jumping through your portrait. And you're just
Jackie Chan is doing all this weird stuff because he robbed, spoiler, you already knew that. That's what you're here for. He robbed the Bank of England. Yeah. Thank you. He stole the jade monkey that you find out later. Oh, man, the jade monkey is from Kim Possible.
They only say Jade Buddha 45 times in the movie.
I really like Kim Possible. I think that's where the jade monkey's from. You're right. Okay.
It's a Buddha.
It is a Buddha.
It's a Buddha.
Sorry, Jade Buddha. He steals the Jade Buddha because squishing a bunch of the movie together.
Yeah, we don't learn this until later in the movie.
No, but
He just
you're
kinda
going to
does
learn
it
it
at the
now.
beginning.
Yeah. It was taken from his village, and he needs to steal it and take it back to his village to protect his village. So that's what's going on there. So, sorry. He takes it, and then he needs to hide from the police because they're chasing him because he robbed the Bank of England. Also, like all of them, all
really
of the police
sensitive about that.
stealing stuff.
Yeah, from the Bank of England. It's like they think
Yeah, they're not
it should
into
be
it.
secure or something.
They do. All the police go up in one door, like to the same place, and Jackie Chan just jumps out the window. His name is not Jackie Chan in the movie. He has a character name. It's like,
But we haven't learned it yet, so we'll get to that later.
well, yeah. I just
Yeah.
wrote JC in my notes the whole time because Jackie Chan was easier. It was 2 letters to write as opposed to his whole name. So his real name is like Lao Xing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. But he tells the guy that he works for, the other main guy in the movie, that his name is, I think he says Paspar, and then the guy stares at him, so he says 2. So his name is Paspar 2.
Yeah,
And that's
because
what they call
there's
him.
cops outside asking for people's passports, and he's like
Oh,
panicking, right? You didn't notice that?
No.
Man.
I
So
knew
yeah,
there was
he's
a reason. I just didn't
panicking
remember why.
when the guy is like, "Hey, what's your name?" And he's like, "Passport." Oh no, wait, no. Oh no.
That's why. That's
Yeah.
funny. I knew there was a reason. I just didn't watch that part of the movie. So he becomes main guy. The main guy, other main guy's name is Phileas, not Phineas. Phileas Fogg with 2 G's on the end of Fogg. So I'm just gonna call him Fogg because Phileas.
We only
is a
know
lot
that
of
because we
syllables.
watch with subtitles.
I do, because sometimes you can't tell what they're saying.
British people.
I'm not a huge fan of subtitles. At least I wasn't, but it makes understanding easier. What?
It's got some of the accents were just hard to understand.
Yeah. Well, I also had them on from a different movie that I didn't know what they were saying.
That's fair.
I don't. It's just a bunch of movies. They're just, people are hard to understand. I don't have subtitles here. If you need them, sorry.
Turn them on YouTube and tell us what they say.
Oh, that would be
actually.
funny. That would be funny.
Yeah,
Would they do that? I don't know.
it can. Yeah, it
Okay.
automatically does those.
Good luck. That's cool. We can watch them. We should watch them. Maybe. Okay.
And we could do
So
like translation
we've made it
challenge or
through the
something.
first like 7 minutes of this movie so far. Passepartout pretends to be a French valet. He's clearly not French, but he's like, yeah, French on my father's side. He's like, why don't you have a French accent? My father speaks French. But he doesn't speak. My mother, Chinese. She talks a lot. You're like, okay. And he just goes with it because Fogg's valet had just quit because he's a ridiculous inventor man. But like, good. He's smart. They just don't believe him.
The valet
So-
didn't wear the rubber pants he was supposed to wear.
Underpants.
Underpants,
So he got shot.
which is a problem
It
when
was.
you're inventing electricity.
It was a problem. So we see this scary lady. The scary lady is scary and strong. She is a female general from China.
Yeah.
From China.
She's the one who took the jade Buddha to begin with.
Yep. Jade Buddha, not a monkey. Who
Not a
would
monkey.
say that? She's scary. So there's a guy, I honestly didn't know his name. What?
She's got a little slicer fan going on. It's like a sword, but it's a fan.
Oh yeah, she's a scary lady. She's very scary. I don't like, she's a good intimidating villain. Like if she showed up in the live action Mulan movie, it would be very intimidating.
Maybe she is in the live action.
Maybe because
She could
that
be the evil
villain
lady.
lady, pretty scary. I wouldn't be surprised if she lasted and showed up in that. That would be a fun way to tie that in. They won't do that, but that'd be fun.
Well, I think that she would have lasted from the Mulan time frame into Around the World
Well,
90 Days since,
I mean, that's fair, but like that movie
Historical
came out in 2004,
timelines.
so like the actress could
Okay.
they could just
I didn't know if you were talking about the character or the actor.
talk about the actress.
Makes sense.
So we're doing great, but I'm
We're through
entertained.
like 6 bullet points.
Oh.
This is why I'm not normally here.
We're fun. Phileas Fogg is aiming high. He goes to the Royal Academy and he's like, blah, 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 words. Somebody stole the Jade Buddha and they're going to go travel here and here and here and here. And they're like, sounds like somebody from his calculations could travel around the world in a fortnight. And he's like, 80 days, actually. And they're like, oh, well, then you do it. And he's like, no. But the jerk guy, his name is Lord Kelvin. I started to say that a long time ago. I didn't.
Kelvin, like temperature. Like,
Oh, is that what?
yeah, that he's a real person who actually existed. I'm sure that's not what he was actually like,
Yeah, 'cause
but
the
that's his
character was a
actual.
punk.
That's an actual person. Is Lord
Well,
Kelvin.
I mean, yeah. I didn't realize that was his name until the end, though. So by that point, I was just like, he's a jerk. I don't like him. I didn't.
He's played by the guy who plays
Somebody in
Professor
Harry Potter.
Slughorn in Harry Potter.
He's a jerk. I don't like him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's on purpose. He plays the part well. He's a jerk. So he challenges Phileas Fogg to travel around the world in 80 days. If he wins, he gets to be the head of the Royal Academy, and Lord Kelvin loses his place. But if Fogg loses, he's never allowed to set foot in the Academy again. He has to tear down his laboratory, and he has to swear to never invent again. And they're like, ha, 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 he won't take that. And Fogg is like, deal, because he just wants to be a real inventor. He just wants to be a real boy.
Which, I mean, he kind of is. He's got a whistle-activated lights. And,
Which is funny.
Like, nobody else has electricity, so that's pretty impressive.
He wants to tell
everybody
Thomas
else
Edison.
is like,
Well, Thomas Edison has electricity.
well, yeah, Thomas Edison has electricity, but everybody else doesn't have electricity.
No.
It's just
No. So we start traveling around the world.
travel.
There's a police officer, their corrupt police officer named Inspector Fix. And he
doesn't fix anything.
He doesn't. He just suffers. And Lord Kelvin's like, what's the point of a corrupt police officer if he can't do anything?
Because like they were trying to leave in like a car kind of thing. Car is a generous term.
A transportation not pulled by horses.
Yes.
That's what you need to know.
And the police officer was like,
the inspector guy.
there's a new law. All transportation carriages have to be pulled by horses. And they were like, okay, that's not a thing.
So they steal the police car, basically.
Yeah, then they steal the police carriage.
Because the police guy makes theirs start moving.
That one's powered by horses.
The police one is.
The policeman.
So the policeman, Inspector Fix, makes theirs start moving. And like he kind of breaks it. And they're like, let's go, we gotta go. So they do. They go. Oh, okay. Good quote that happened earlier.
Oh no, it's right before they leave.
Oh yeah, not a lot earlier. Because they're just like hanging out because Fogg is like, I can't. He's panicking. And so he's like, I risked everything, my entire life's work.
For something you believe in. Nothing could make more sense than that, sir.
Which is good. It's a good quote. You did not say it like Jackie Chan, but that's
Well, no, I'm not Jackie Chan. How am I supposed to say like Jackie Chan?
yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no.
So it was good. It was a good quote. I like quotes. That was a good one. So they go. Then they get to Paris, and they see these like 5 bad guys who work for the scary Chinese general
Fogg
lady.
is completely clueless about this. He has no idea what's going on. He's just trying to travel, and
Yeah, he doesn't know that Jackie
Passepartout's
Chan.
like, we're gonna die.
Yeah, has these scary guys following him. So it's like 5 guys, 6 guys, 5.
That's a lot.
5 or 6. And they're like in disguises. So one of them looks like a baker and one of them looks like an artist and the other ones are just kind of there. I don't remember what they were. They were thematically dressed. And he looks around and he's like, oh no, we should go see this. Thomas Edison's there because he's pretending he's French. So he pretends he can speak French. He can't read French. Doesn't know what's happening. He's like, oh, let's go see Edison. And Fogg's like, oh yeah, okay. It's an art show. No Edison. So he's looking at art, and Fogg doesn't like it. There's a nice artist lady who says, the artist views reality through imagination rather than simply recording it. It's Impressionism. I like her. She's cute. Her name is Monique. Cute, like, she's adorable, but also, like, as a person, she's just nice and cute. Frying pan later, like Rapunzel. Oh, I'm assuming it's a frying pan, just because it's more Rapunzel does.
It could be a different kind of pan.
Yeah.
A searing pan.
So she's like Impressionism, and he's like, bushes aren't purple. That's ridiculous. But then he sees a piece of art where a man is flying, and he's like, oh, he's really drawn to that one.
Because he's trying to make a flying machine. Weird.
Yeah. He wants to fly. He's like, you can do it. And people are like, no. He broke the 50-mile-an-hour person barrier with Passepartout, and he didn't explode. So he's into it. So Monique sees him looking at that piece because she's like talking to him about the art. And she's like, you dream of flying or of naked men. And he's like, yes, the flying part. That was funny.
Not the naked.
So, and starts talking to Monique, and he works there. And apparently Monique is not actually supposed to be an artist. She was hired to take people's coats. She's the coat check girl. She gets fired. She had done that painting of the man flying, though. That was pretty cool. So they take it with them, apparently.
Yeah.
The bad guys on Jackie Chan, and he's like, oh, they're going to help me find Edison. So that Fogg doesn't suspect it. He's a very oblivious man. But he fights them and they like finish painting. What?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
I'm good. Yeah, they finished the painting. That was really good.
It was fun.
It was a lot of really good stunt coordination.
Yeah.
Like,
Jackie Chan is a quality stunt coordinator. I mean, I know like that's.
He tried to punch himself in a mirror at one point. That was pretty funny.
He did, because he put his hands over his face like this, and then
because somebody was like chucking ash at him or something.
Yeah. So then he had a black line down part of his face, so he turned and tried to punch him because I don't know, he didn't recognize him.
himself.
And then he was like, "Oh, ow!" So that was funny. You should watch it. It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
Like
we gave it a good review.
We did. I know, but like I wouldn't
Nobody's gonna ever know what
again.
happened in the movie based on us because it's gonna take.
It's fun. What else are we gonna do? We're all inside all the time.
Well, that's
so. They see the bad guys like chasing them. I forgot this wasn't a touchscreen. My laptop's a touchscreen. Daniel's and it's not. And this is on Daniel's. And then there's a secret door in a painting that Monique leads them out of.
That was really cool.
It was.
It looked like a painting. It's not a painting.
Monique wants to go with him. And basically she like makes him take her.
And they find the worst form of transportation ever invented when you're trying to go to a particular location.
It was effective to get away from people. They get in a hot air balloon. They kind of steal it. People can't hear you. They don't know your snarky side comment.
It's fine. They can see my snarky
hot
side
air
faces.
Balloons are terrible. So Fogg and Monique get in there, but Jackie Chan gets in there too. But then he's like, Passepartout. Fogg is like, Passepartout. That lady has my bag. It has all my money in it. So Jackie Chan jumps out of the hot air balloon and goes and takes the bag from the old lady.
And he goes boss mode.
And then she's like, you took my purse.
He didn't take it.
He did take her purse.
Oh, he did take her purse?
But he didn't realize it because it was in the same hand. So it was a bag and her black purse. I thought that she was saying that he had stolen her, like that big bag was her bag. And I thought she was either crazy or Fogg didn't realize he had his own bag and she had a bag that looked like his. But she had picked up his bag, but also had her black purse there. They throw it down to her later.
Yeah.
She also gets hurt. I didn't like that part.
Yeah.
It was just.
I mean, she was okay because she saw her purse got back to her.
But she jumps over the wall that they've all jumped over, and then there's bags of flour at the ground that you don't expect. So she lands on them, and then she like flops and like face plants hard. She's kind of old, and it was just unnecessarily painful to watch.
Yeah.
They could have made it funnier. They could have not had her slam her head on the ground, and that would have been funnier. But then she gets the purse back, so yay. So Jackie Chan does some ridiculous things to chase down the hot air balloon and get up there while running away from people. You should watch it because it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on. He is holding onto the rope of the hot air balloon and sees a mom asleep in a room with her baby in the crib, like standing up baby, like 1-year-old-ish, and there's a fire in there. So he jumps in the window, puts out the fire, and I thought the mom was going to wake up and be mad at him. But she wakes up and says,
Merci.
And he's like,
That's one does in France.
Yeah.
You know.
And he leaves. So apparently she knew that he had hopped in her room to put out a fire.
I mean, probably because, there's smoke. Or
I don't know. If I woke up and saw a strange man in my house, my immediate thought would not be like, he must have put out that fire. I'd be like, get out of my house, please. And then I'd be like, fire. So anyway, leave France. We find out that he stole the Buddha to protect his village. Because he tells, is that when they're on the train?
Yeah, I think so. It's while they're on some train. They
because they're heading to, that's when they're, is that when they're heading to?
Yeah, they're heading towards India.
No, they're not to India yet.
No, right. They're heading towards India, but they get to Turkey first.
You're right. There was a different train. There were multiple.
They get on a lot of trains because there's no planes. So you got to get on trains to go the fastest you go.
You're right. So they went to Turkey. There is a prince. So his name is spelled Hapi. It's Prince Hapi, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I've never heard him talk without his accent. It was really weird.
He still had like a little,
he had a slight
little bit, but it was a little disconcerting.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good actor. So they get in there, and it's Fogg, Passepartout, and Monique. I'm kind of reviewing their names to make sure that I say them right, honestly. And they see his most prized possession, his Rodin statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Rodin statue. It's like the thinker.
Except not. He's kind of more of sitting on a toilet or something.
But it looks, it's impressive. Like the thinker.
Yeah.
and it says like, "Happy birthday, your friend Rodan."
Yeah.
And it's the thinker-ish, but it's of him, of Prince Happy. And it's his most treasured possession. So they're like hanging out with him in a hot tub pool kind of
Hot
thing.
tub. Yeah, it's hot
And then
tub.
they're like, okay, we've got to go. And he's like, Fogg and Passepartout, you can go, but I'm going to keep Monique as my wife.
Because he's a Turkish prince, so once you're in Turkey, he can kind of do whatever he wants to people. Yeah.
So he's like, my seventh wife.
And she's not into it.
She was not. He was like, one for every day of the week. Do Tuesdays work for you? And that was a funny line.
That was a funny line. Yeah.
Like I wrote it down because
Yeah.
I liked it. But Tuesdays did not work for her. So they're like, no, okay, fine, let's leave. And so then they go and they like push his Rodin statue over so that Fogg is on the front, like by the face and the arm.
Gets his most prized possession.
Passepartout's at the back. So they're using that as leverage to get Monique back. And he's like, I'll do whatever you want. Whatever you want. And they're like, Monique, come here. Now y'all go back to that tent. And then
And then Fogg's a chump, so he lets it drop.
well, he also is like telling them to like take off clothes.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to make it so that they won't pursue him because he knows that once they push it back up, they're going to start charging after him. So he's like, take off your clothes and put down your swords. And, basically just trying to make it so that they'll trip over themselves or whatever.
Which is smart.
Which was smart.
But then he like grabbed the arm and the arm came off. So then he's holding the arm in one hand and the thing in the other. And he's like, no, it's fine. No arm. Ah. And then I think it like shifts it off balance. And then Passepartout's like, ah. And then it falls forward away from Passepartout, like kind of not onto, but it like smashes on the ground towards
And
Fogg.
this is why we don't have this Rodin statue in real life.
Yeah. Because it broke.
Yep.
Well, not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
In real life. It was totally real.
Yeah,
Movie.
totally.
So
Had real characters.
then they're like, ah! So they run out, and Prince Happy is like, after him! And they chase him down. But thankfully, those people don't come back.
They're done.
Like, they don't follow him
They
around
don't
the
leave
world.
Turkey.
But the inspector does. Inspector Fix, the
Inspector
corrupt
Fix is pretty.
and clumsy police officer. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, a lot of bad things happen to him.
I mean, like, he is a corrupt officer. But he's not good at being corrupt, so it's just sad.
If you're going to corrupt a police officer, corrupt a competent one.
Yeah.
Like corrupt Gibbs or something. Like
Oh, that would
don't get
never
inspector.
work.
Well, yeah, I know that,
That
but
would
at
never
least he'd be
work.
useful.
He would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Gibbs would be a terrifying.
But Fix is a
corrupt
chump,
officer.
so
And then you see him at the end of the movie, and his like face is all saggy a little bit, and it's
he's had a bad time.
It's good makeup, but yucky. So they get on a train. We're heading to India. A cute little boy calls him Mr. Frog instead of Mr. Fogg. I thought it was funny. Jackie Chan's character, Passepartout, is telling the kids stories about the 10 tigers. And he's like, they fight like different animals. And he's like a tiger. And like a, yeah, and he's doing all this fun stuff. And Fogg is like, no, stop telling them stories. And he's like, but stories are good. And Monique is like, stories are good. Oh, also they made a deal earlier, Jackie Chan's character and Monique, that she knows his secret, and
because she's not clueless and she paid attention.
Yeah. And because Fogg is just like the not stereotypical, but kind of like the clueless inventor who's really smart, but doesn't know what's going on in the world. So she will keep his secret, and he will keep her with them. So they pretend that they're distant relatives. And he's like, yeah, she's somebody, something. And it sounded like it was on his mom's side, even though the French side was supposed to be his dad's side. But Fogg did not notice. I did. Did you notice that?
I noticed because you noticed.
Right
and you
now?
talked about it. No,
We're
you
not
talked about
there?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
you talked about it last night.
Good. Okay. Then I
Whenever
agree
we
with
watched
me.
this movie.
That was last night.
They didn't know that
So-
until just now.
I already said it.
Oh, you
said
did?
you watched this
Oh,
movie with
okay.
me last night. So
I paid
there's a
attention.
lot of quality stunts in this movie.
We should talk about
It's fun. It's like you're gonna watch it anyway.
it. Okay.
If they're gonna watch it, they're gonna watch it. If not, they won't. That's where we're at. If you're here, thanks. They get away. They dress in women's clothing in India to hide, which is funny.
Because Fix is like, yo, people, they're in India. they're on this train going to India,
And it's like a
British are
British-
like, "Hello, we own India. Let's go," because it's before 1940s, so they still own India. But
Yeah.
then they get away because they're sneaky. They
It's
dress
funny.
like women.
It's a funny time. So they go from India to the Himalayas to China, but we just skip the Himalayas. So then
How they get over them? I don't
we
know.
don't know.
They're
So
big.
day 41, you get to Passepartout's village, but it's not. That's not his real name. And then they only speak Chinese. So that's
Because
not
it's a
actually true.
small-
Some of them
Some
speak
of them
English.
speak some English, but it's a small village. And
Yeah. So Jackie Chan says that Fog is his valet, which is not true. It's
Yeah.
funny. And his mom is like, the valet will cook us a great feast. And then Fog eventually finds out that why.
He's getting sick because Jackie Chan's mom is like making him drink shots.
Oh, yeah, that
for,
was
like,
funny.
hours.
So he's being ridiculous.
Dude's
Jackie Chan is
got,
like, yeah, he's the
15
most-
shots in him or something.
He's the most trustworthy, blah, 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 reliable.
Yeah.
And then you see him like standing on a table telling the story that Jackie Chan had told with like,
but not very well.
no.
He
But the
falls
people thought it
over.
was funny. Yeah. So then eventually,
The
like,
little
he
girl
finds
draws a
out.
picture of him, labels it stupid.
And
Which is
everybody
fair.
laughs. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not stupid, but he was making
He'd be the
some choices.
dodo bird in the Tigers.
He would. So, moving on, he finds out he feels betrayed by Jackie Chan and Monique. So Monique was like, he had to do it to blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you knew too. So he turns and leaves. And then Monique is like, you need to go after him. So he goes out, and Fog has been like captured by these bad guys who were called the Black Scorpions, I found out at the end of this
Surprised
whole
they're the same
section.
people as the lady. They work with the lady.
Were they?
Yeah, they work with the lady.
I mean, that does make sense.
Because they're trying to get the Jade Buddha.
Yeah, you're right. Jade Buddha, not a jade monkey. That'd be ridiculous. So, so then they're put in, stop it. They're put in prison boxes. And there's also another guy over there who's screaming in Chinese that he wants to be let out and blah, 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 blah. And Fog is like, what's he in there for? And Jackie Chan asks him, and he's like, public urination. Okay, cool. And then the scary lady comes. And was it
Scary lady didn't show up. It was her minions.
You're right.
She didn't come to China.
You're
There's too
right.
much effort
She
for her.
didn't. It was a scary person, and at this point, I'm just putting the scary people together.
Yeah, scary dude's got a sweet
Scary lady
bracelet.
did not show up. He did. So one of the guys is like, "Your threats don't frighten me."
That was Fog who said that.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So
Mhm.
Fog says, "Your threats don't frighten me, nor does your silly bracelet." And then a sword slides out, and he's like, "All right." Those were scissors. All right, it's not silly. He has a few lines like that
Yeah.
are funny.
He gets more confidence in about these things later on, and he becomes more entertaining.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
some solid character growth in that.
Yeah.
He goes
He
from
cares about people.
completely useless to like.
Because
in a
at the
fight.
beginning of this movie, he said that all he had was his inventions. Like he didn't
Mhm.
have family to tell before they traveled. It's just him and his invention. So if he had to tear down his laboratory and never invent again, he'd have nothing. So I was sad. Lord
Yeah.
Kelvin was a jerk. So Jackie Chan is out of his box. He's fighting them, and Fog and Monique are like giving him feedback, so then they cover up their heads. But Jackie Chan flips two guys and himself at the same time. Like
pretty sweet.
just from the ground, he just flips. I watched that scene like I rewound it because you can do that like 3 times. It was really cool. But then Jackie Chan ends up in a wagon and is pushed away, and like he can't stop himself, and he's rolling towards the village. But then somebody catches his wagon. It is his mysterious friend Wong Fei Hung.
You're on your own for that one.
Wong Fei. I think that's how you say it. I know how to spell it.
Then there's
They
Ninja
only
Becca.
said it once. And then all these ninjas show up dressed in black. They're the
'Cause they're
tigers.
ninjas.
Because they're ninjas. Then you find out that they're the 10 tigers. They're his brothers and sisters. But Monique is like, there's only 9 of them. And Jackie Chan is like, and me. Well, that makes sense. So they
Yes.
beat the scorpions, and Jackie Chan is like, never come back. Bye.
Yeah.
Fog wants Jackie Chan to find Monique a safe way home because he's like, I'm out. I found reliable help. But it's the urinating in public guy.
And he does it
then
again.
He does it again. So they arrest him, and he's like, I'll go by myself. So he goes back to box. That guy goes back to
That
box
goes
jail.
well for like 10 seconds for him.
It's not even that long.
I mean, he had to get on the boat, get across the ocean.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so he crosses the Pacific Ocean, and then he's somewhere.
Mysteriously, we don't know how he does that.
It happens. So then he's walking, and then this lady crash into each other, and she goes, "I'm so sorry, sir. I'm such a rutabaga sometimes." I don't really know what that means, but I thought it was really funny.
You mean you've never been a vegetable before and just run into somebody?
Couch potato, I get. Rutabaga. Like, I've never had a rutabaga. I don't think. The name is funny. So she's like, "Oh, I'm hurt." And he's like, "Oh, I'll go get someone." So he leaves. And he leaves his bag.
Because he's a dope.
She's a bad guy. I mean, lady, but she's a bad guy.
So.
So she takes his bag and she looks into it and is like, "Ha ha 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 ha." So she has all of his money. So he's got nothing. And then it jumps to 3 days later and he's begging for money. And he's in an alleyway. There's a guy who is playing a famous guy who's playing a homeless guy. I don't know who that famous guy was.
I have no idea. I didn't recognize him. I didn't even know he was famous.
Yeah, I mean, I recognized that I'd seen him before. Like, I think he's famous. But he wasn't in it for very long, and I didn't look it up. But I think he was a famous guy. So he's teaching him, like, how to beg. And the guy's like, "What's your most powerful weapon?" And he says, "I'm hungry." Or like, "What's different about you versus them?" And he's like, "I'm hungry and miserable and they're not." And the guy's like, "Wrong. Your stink is your most powerful weapon in your begging arsenal." So he goes out, begs, it works. And then Fogg tries and he gets punched. And the guy's like, "Not going to lie, that happens about 50% of the time. It's a numbers game." But then Fogg starts talking about flying people and he's like, "The birdmen are coming! The birdmen are coming!" Because apparently people are really afraid of birdmen.
I mean, I would be too. Nobody's really flown except for in hot air balloons so far. So
I wouldn't call them birdmen. Well, actually, that would be kind of terrifying if you had that was scary. Okay, if a person had wings instead of arms, do they not
then
have
we'd
arms?
all be afraid of Becca's. Becca.
So he's there, and then he's looking at the he's looking at the painting. This is a good part, a genuinely good part. He's looking at the painting from Monique, and then he sees that there's a note on the back, and it says, "I traveled the world for inspiration and found it in a man who lives what he dreams." Aww.
Sorry.
That wasn't very genuine.
That's because I didn't actually watch that part of the movie.
You didn't?
Nope.
It was good. It was a good part. It was good. And then he's like, "Man, here I am." And then Monique and Passepartout, that's not his real name, but that's, whatever.
That's what we're calling now.
Well, I'm calling him that, or Jackie Chan. I'm not calling him his character's real name anyway.
Nobody does.
But like the summary calls him Passepartout. So
Yeah. Nobody calls him his real name except for in China.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him.
Well,
But
and the
he didn't
scary
get to pick
lady.
his name.
Scary lady does too.
She's scary though. So they're walking past, and Monique is like, "Is that Fogg?" And Passepartout's like, "No, it's not." And then he calls out to them, and they come back. And he's dressed in like black, dark clothes, and they're in light colored clothes, like light tans and creams. Did you notice that?
No.
I did, because they're hope and he's darkness. So that was fun. So they cross the Pacific Ocean for him, and Monique says, "Because you are our friend, and perhaps more."
And then Jackie Chan's like, "More with her. You and me, we just stick with friends."
Which was funny. I liked that part. And then the next thing so bad guy and bad lady, Lord Kelvin and scary general lady are talking, and like they had given him the Buddha. What?
Nothing. I'm judging you slightly on some of the stuff that's coming up in a bit.
What?
Sorry, continue.
That part's funny.
I know. I was no. Just go with it. When we get to the next scene,
That part's funny too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, in the desert.
That's what it said.
It
The
does.
caption says. We'll get there. I'll tell you
I'm
what
judging
Daniel's
the movie
complaining
then.
about.
Give
That's
it a
what
7,
it said.
maybe a 6.75.
So you made me lose all. General and Lord Kelvin are talking. The reason that the general lady is involved in this is because she had given Lord Kelvin the Buddha for
Jade Buddha.
the jade. They know. They've heard it. The jade Buddha.
I just want to make
I'm
sure our
gonna
video
push you.
says it as much
I'm not.
as the
but
movie
like,
does.
they say it a lot in the movie. Shh, please let me say this part, or it will take like 4 more minutes to get through this one scene. So there is like I don't know, something about money. And Lord Kelvin's like, we're not going to do whatever unless we get money. So she's like, I found another way. And he's like, oh yeah, this is great. And then there's some like deposit or something that they're going to get from China, and like in the ground deposit, not bank deposit. And he's like, yeah, here. And the person's like, but the Great Wall of China is there. And he's like, yeah, we'll just blow it up. And they're like, but that is the Great Wall of China, sir. And he says, it's not that great. I thought it was funny. Okay, you can go back now. The end of that part. So then we get to day 66. And the movie on the screen said, somewhere in the desert.
They did that in Kitty Hawk in North Carolina. Your connection's unstable.
Oh, no. Okay,
No,
we're
it's
back to
stable again.
internet. Hello. Maybe that's why my videos like jump sometimes. Because the connection is
Oh.
temporarily gone.
Awkward.
Day 66, somewhere in the desert. It's the Wright brothers. Daniel doesn't like that. Broken down. Monique and Fogg are there, and Passepartout has gone to find help
They're from
hours
Ohio.
before.
Why would they be in the desert? They moved from Ohio to North Carolina.
Daniel, this is not a completely historically accurate movie. I think they took some liberties. David, and David.
And
And the writer. They're living their lives, Daniel.
That's just later.
We're not there. Please let me tell this story. So, the Wright brothers come up, and we still don't know where Passepartout is. And so it's the two brothers, Wilbur and Orville.
Yep.
Yeah. So, the main guy in this movie, Fogg, plays, Night at the Museum, the two little guys, the Roman guy. What?
The miniatures.
Well, yeah, the miniatures. The Roman guy and the cowboy. So the Roman guy, Octavius, is the same actor as the main guy in Night at the Museum.
Octavius is Fogg.
Thanks. Octavius and Fogg, same person. So the Wright brothers come up, and it's Owen Wilson. That's his name,
Yeah,
right?
Owen Wilson.
It's Owen Wilson.
Thanks for coming up with that. I was struggling.
Oh, yeah, I had that. Owen Wilson played the little cowboy guy with little Octavius. And Owen Wilson, the little cowboy, also plays the Wright brother, Wilbur. So that was funny to me. I don't know if they did it. I don't actually know when the museum came out. Do you?
No. Do you want me to look it up?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Daniel's going to look that up while I keep talking. I thought it was funny. So that Wright brother, Wilbur, he's just leaning over in the chair, so you can't see him.
What are you talking about? I left the room.
Talking about flying.
Maybe. Oh, no.
Sometime. And Orville has figured out how to steer it better. 2006. Oh, so they were in this movie first, and they glimpsed each other because it came out in 2004.
Yeah.
And then they were co-stars in Night at the Museum.
And had a bromance.
Tiny co-stars.
Yeah.
You're so small. Anyway, Wilbur's like, ugh, Orville. And Orville's like, I figured it out. And Wilbur's like, yeah, of course you did, buddy. But it's like, you got it. We use that information later. So we move on. They're leaving.
Oh, and we figure out at this point that people are betting on them.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first time anybody's mentioned that anybody's betting on them to win it. Yeah, this is the first time it's mentioned.
In New York City?
No. The Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers?
Yeah.
Oh. Then
6 days later, they make it to New York City.
A lot of people.
We don't know where they were in the desert.
A good question. I don't know.
So
somewhere. So they said somewhere in the desert. They didn't want to commit. So we're in New York City. Everyone is cheering for them. A policeman comes out and holds out a wanted poster, and it's like them wanted dead or alive. And Fogg is like, and the policeman's like, will you sign this for my wife? And Fogg is like,
I can explain.
Yeah.
About the Bank of England.
And the police officer's like, I'm from Ireland. Nice going. And he winks at him. It was funny. So he's like, oh, the boat. Because the boat leaves in 10 minutes. And they're like, we're not going to make it. But the policeman's like, I've got you. I've got a shortcut. And he takes him into this building. And the Statue of Liberty's in there. And I don't know it. Like, is the police a bad guy?
Yeah, the policeman seems like a bad guy.
Because the scary lady was
and
there.
then he disappears.
Yeah.
Scary lady's there.
But we never mentioned the policeman again.
Yeah, no, he just
and also he got their autograph. So that was a weird.
It was a good way to build trust, though.
So but he's a policeman, so they would have trusted him anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I think if he'd been like, I'm from Ireland, they'd be like, oh, okay, let's go. So they fight the scary lady. There's some quality stunts there. Monique and Fogg get out, and they're like, boat, no. Because Fogg is like, we should go back in to help him because he's 9 tigers short. because 10 tigers.
Yeah.
And Monique is like, I think you're becoming the man of my dreams. And he's like, I hope when this is left, I can be the
Man of your dreams with
arms and legs
and
of your
legs.
dreams on the torso of your dreams. It was awkward, but
Basically,
funny.
he just didn't want to be, drawn and quartered or anything like that.
Yeah, fair. So they help.
Yeah,
It's a good time. It's a fun fight. And then that was weird.
Yeah.
Monique hits a lady with this is the frying pan maybe part, and then Jackie Chan is like, "You must be the 11th tiger," and she goes, meow, which is a little weird.
She was
But
a
funny.
cat.
She was a cat. Well, I mean, I
Those
get
were
it.
like
She's a
snake.
tiger. Yeah. I thought she just didn't know how to make
Evil.
tiger noise. She was a
Fogg
mild
tried to be an
tiger.
eagle. It didn't work.
Did he?
Yeah,
I
at
don't
some
remember
point he
that.
tried
That
to be
sounds funny. So then he's like, "Let's go win." So they're on a boat, and they found a boat, and they're one day behind. The boat captain is honored to have Fogg on his boat. He seems like he's going to help him go faster. But
I'll tell you this when we're done. Sorry, I just had a realization about the movie. Okay.
okay, like you're going to tell the viewers,
Oh yeah.
my mom and sister, and
Yeah.
brother-in-law.
Yeah, but we're not there yet. We gotta wait until we get later.
42
in the movie.
minutes. Oh yeah, only 42 minutes in right now. They could have watched Chef. Well, the movie's like 2 hours long.
You should watch the movie while you're watching this.
That would be.
That's a bad tip now. But if
We can
you
put
could,
it in the description.
watch,
yeah, I don't
start
know
the
how to
movie at the
move
same
things.
time, and then tell
We
us
should.
where in the movie you stopped watching this, and how many spoilers did you get after it happened in the movie?
Be funny.
That'd be really fun.
Yep, have fun. Good luck. Okay, so they're on the boat. We jump to Inspector Fix, and he's just dumb and very wounded. And somebody's like, "You made it back before they did," and he's like, "Cause I came back from India the short way."
Because I turned around, dork. You're like, oh yeah, okay. Good point.
That's an option. But also, like, even if he had beaten the back, that's not a point to be proven, except to prove Fogg wrong that 80 days was right.
80 days is too much, apparently. Who knows? Anyhow.
My face is lit weird. Okay, so no, then it gets really. Oh, actually, that was fun. Ooh, okay. Anyway, sorry, friends. So they burn some extra coal to go faster, and then the captain's like, "We're out of coal," but all the crew agreed to burn their shoes, and Fogg's like, "Thanks for that, but no thanks." And then he sees birds in the sky, and he's like, "Ah, birds!" And the captain says, "Excellent idea. We'll burn birds." And he's like, "No, we'll fly." So they they have to like dismantle the part of the ship to build a flying machine, but they still leave the bottom, like they don't sink.
Yeah. Well, that would
didn't he
not
encounter a
work
shark?
very well.
No,
Shark?
the captain like encountered a shark, and that's what damaged him. Did you not?
No, I didn't remember that part.
His wife hasn't smiled in like 7 years.
Oh
at him.
yeah, except for that one time when he was like, "Yeah, shark almost ate me," and she was like, "Nice."
No, she hasn't smiled since then.
Oh, I thought that
No.
line was that the only time she smiled. He didn't like his wife, and she didn't like him. So I thought the only time she
Because
smiled was
it
because he almost got eaten.
Physically damaged him. I thought that's what. Watch it, and you can just tell us in the comments, or like
Please correct us.
tell us.
We don't know.
I think that I'm right, but who knows? So Fogg is like, if we let us do this, and then I'll pay for you to see a doctor to like reconstruct you, and something else, like pay for a new boat. And the captain was like, "You had me a doctor." Okay, so it works. And then, well, they build a flying machine, and then Monique and Fogg are like staring at each other, and they're like having a moment. And Jackie Chan is like, "I'll go sharpen the propeller," and walks away.
One of the greatest, horrible trying to leave lines I've ever heard.
I watched it multiple times.
Second only
But
to
then-
McGee saying, "I'll go get a haircut." In
That is
NCIA.
funny. Okay, so he says, "I'll go sharpen the propeller," and walks this way, one way. And then they get a little closer. And then he comes back and like covers his eyes and goes, "Wrong way, not looking," and walks the other way. That was really funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny.
And then they fly.
And then, yeah, then they fly.
And then the captain's like, "Great, how are we supposed to get home?" Because they
Oh,
took down the
yeah.
mast and like everything
they had
else
nothing.
on the boat. The boat's
It was
not
also
moving.
funny because the captain was like, "Fog," and then everybody, all the crew goes, "Yeah!" And Fogg and Passepartout are just like, "Why?" And Fogg is like, "Inspiring words," but it was a nice sentiment. from the boat crew.
Yeah.
So then they're flying over England, and there's the crowd yells in unison at about an hour, 45 minutes, and 20 seconds, and I thought that was
Plus or
really
minus 2 seconds.
funny. Well, I looked at the time at like 40 seconds because a police officer says to another police officer, like, "Sir, there's people flying over. I don't know. There's people flying, and it's powered by the bank robber." And then the crowd runs by and is like, "There's people flying, and it's powered by the bank robber." And the police is like, "People will believe anything." And then he hears them, and he's like, "See what I mean?"
That guy's played by a dude who does Monty Python skits. I think it's John Cleese.
It was funny part, though. It was funnier than I just made it sound.
It was a good moment.
So it's 3 minutes until noon, and their thing is kind of like their flying machine is kind of breaking a little bit, and Jackie Chan is flapping the wings with his hands. And Lord Kelvin is a bully, and he tries to arrest them for being bank robbers, which, I mean, like, yeah, technically Jackie Chan did rob it.
In the process, he admits to, like, trying to
stop them. Inspector Fix is like,
cheat on the bet.
Stopped me. And
because Fix shows up and is like, "I was paid to try and stop them, and I hate this guy. He's a jerk, and I'm dying. And I have a broken arm and a broken face, and all this kind of stuff."
He did not say all that.
Yeah, but he showed.
But it was implied. I mean, you saw it. And then, like, the other men start stepping up, and they're like, "He's a bully. He blah 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 blah. I'm a battered lord."
Yeah, and then Lord Kelvin's like, "What you gonna do about it? I'm the boss. Nobody can do nothing about it." And somebody's like, "The queen," and he's like, "The queen ain't gonna do nothing. What's she gonna do? Sit on me?"
Yeah, he says that, and then the queen shows up behind him, and she's played by a famous lady too.
Yeah,
it's not the queen.
No, it's not the actual queen thing,
but it is a famous lady. I bet she just plays the queen.
I think she's like the queen of things.
She lives a good life.
Yeah.
Royal. She's a funny queen too. Lord Kelvin is arrested, and she's like, I think she had like 20 quid riding on it. 20, 40 quid.
Something like that.
Some quid, which sounds like squid, riding on it. So they're like, "We've lost. It's past noon." And she's like, "Yeah, it's past noon. You have until tomorrow."
And
you're like, "What?" Oh, I guess we didn't tell them we were about to lose. So they didn't know that was a big thing. We, as the viewer, well, yeah, Daniel guessed it. But they think that they have, I guess I did say that. They think they have 3 minutes until noon on the 80th day. Like, they have to be there, and he stops them, and they don't make it. But Daniel was like, "Oh, international dateline," and that's what it was. So Passepartout.
They were smart enough to go forward. Because otherwise you'd mess yourself up. You went the other way.
You think that you would have, well, I don't know. Yeah. It's just a difficult thing to count. Passepartout set Fogg's watch forward an hour at every new time zone. Why he couldn't do that himself? I don't know. Weird inventor stuff.
Hey.
He had a very strict schedule.
If you have a valet.
When it set your own watch, be like, "Here you go, buddy."
Yeah. See, you have a valet. Use the valet.
So they have an extra day. So they do it in 79 days in like 10 minutes.
Which means that when they were 1 day behind on that boat, they were on time, and they just stranded those guys in the middle of the ocean for nothing. That's my realization I just had.
That's right. Is that the one that you had earlier that you didn't tell me? Okay, that was it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate for them.
Those guys are
But
probably...
then they would have been 3 minutes too late. The queen might not have showed up on time.
Maybe.
They
gained 8 hours.
I am hungry.
We can have food after this, but they gained 8 hours. They said that.
I didn't expect this to be this long.
This is why I shouldn't be here most of the time.
This is more fun
otherwise
for
they're
me.
just going to be like, why would we watch these summaries?
They're not going to watch them anyway. If you do, thanks.
We're going to start naming these commentaries.
Well,
if I'm here, it should be named a commentary.
Okay.
Because then it's like half the length of the movie. And I feel like that's
fair.
pretty much
that's fair.
Commentary.
So, so Lord Kelvin is arrested. He's a punk. That's fine with me. And the queen is like, "Go finish. I shall need a new minister of science." And they go up there. Yay! The end. 7.58.
My rating might drop because they had the Wright brothers in the middle of the desert.
7.258.
Depending on how long this video goes, it might go down to like a 6.75 or something.
We're almost done. I didn't super connect with any of the characters. Jackie Chan's character was really funny. And a great stunt coordinator, like just the guy. Great stunts. I liked Monique, how she talked, her attitude about life, and she was funny, so that's why I gave it an 8.
I think I've made enough comments in this video.
It's a good movie. I maybe wouldn't show it to like a little kid. It's a long movie. It's 2 hours. It's long.
Yeah.
And there's some parts that look painful. So I think personally, I wouldn't show a kid until they're old enough to realize that like people aren't actually going to go around hitting people like this.
Yeah.
And also
There's
like
no,
that.
like,
So it just
gore or
depends on
anything.
how you
It's
feel
not-
about bad
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not like gruesome. It just looks
There's no gruesomeness.
painful sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to suffer. Okay, thank you for watching this 52-minute video about Around the
52
World in
minutes
80
yet.
days. See, I remember to say it that time.
Good job.
Okay.
She's cutting me.
That was Around the World in 80 Days. He has been silenced because he kept talking and wouldn't let me talk and wasted like a minute of your valuable, precious time. Tomorrow I will talk about some movie. Probably not this long, but it was fun for me. Hopefully you also enjoyed it. Okay, bye.